in a very strange predicament. I tried to install a new OS for my mother's old iMac 2000 and what is it? 2010 iMac running 10.6.8, and that particular version doesn't upgrade any further, but I did my research and technically it can upgrade to El Capitan, and I did get a legal copy from Apple Store, and we're going to see the ramifications of what happens when shit goes wrong with tech support, misinformation, bootleg copies that look just like the real thing, but they're, you know, side-loaded, dupes. They change, you know, you'll see what I'm saying. So I'm just trying to get myself ready for this because I've been at it for 5 hours. So there's no... Everything works. Everything works. The disk utilities, the safe mode, the startup disk. But because she never backed up a Time Machine copy, there is no backup. There's no firmware password set. I created an ISO file, did all this, but then when I went to install it, it's either... There's two culprits. It's either the tech guy that does maintains her Mac, or it is Lisco. So those are the two that are responsible for completely fucking up the disk partition, the volume, the boot order, and you'll see. I'll get into it in a second. So here we go. And it's not going to be this is not no fun dancing party. But I just wanted to share this information because it happened to me like twice about a month ago on 2 of my Macs. They got taken down through a network server. And I watched the dude's every move. And he's like, oh, you know how to do that? Boot up key combination? I never heard of that, like playing stupid. And so, like, you know, when it comes to Mac OSs, you really got to be careful. So I'm just going to get in the mood here. Play a little background music. And I gotta hold this tablet. So I got El Capitan. So like ignore that window right there, because it's not even correct. So what happened is when I did the install, it installed fine, and as soon as it finishes, it just went into a loop, an install loop. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? So I had spent like 3 hours trying to get it to do it. And it took a long time to download from Apple's website. I did not get it from a third party. I did my homework, how to correctly upgrade from, I think it was Snow Leopard to El Capitan. I'm not sure. I forget, but it's one of those. But this El Capitan is, you know, I didn't use any side assistance or whatever, you know. So here's what it looks like. It has, and I found all the little tricks, right? So what he did, the first thing he did is he shut off the Wi-Fi. Basically, and what he did is he booted it to net, like Apple Remote, technically, but that's not what he did. He booted it to his, whatever. And then he switched the language. So what they do is they turn off the Wi-Fi, switch the input language, so that way, like, you know, obviously, if you're a PC user and you're running a VirtualBox on Mac, then you would have to have this kind of input method, right? Okay, so I'm checking out, you know, the first thing I see is just, I always look at the logs. So this is the first window that I get. I gotta zoom way out, right? That's as far as I can go, guys. So this is the first window I get. No startup disk, nothing. Fully installed, no errors, right? But here's where the kicker is. This is a fake OS utilities. And this is going to be a long video, you guys, and it's going to be confusing and it won't make sense. But I'll just try to break it down as best as I can. So I'll leave that network utility for later. So basically, this is what I get. Either the option to choose a startup disk or shut down. Okay? Change the language, edit. Now, it switches from here. There's no firmware set, no network utility, but it switches. Like, it will go from network utility to disk utility, but in a backdoor, weird fucking way. So, what do? Right? She does not have a backup from Time Machine. Here's the reinstalled OS, so, okay. Oh no, I'm sorry, excuse me, it's not the reinstall. It's asking me, do you want to reinstall OS X? El Capitan, the one that just installed, reinstall a new copy. And then I had to think about it. No, it didn't work. It got stuck in a loop. So what's the other option? Get help online. So that's what he did. Okay, so disk utility. So what he did was he played stupid with me, and he didn't know that I know when Mac startup and boot commands, and I know a little bit of some Unix commands to boot. And he played dumb with me, and he got, because I have it all time stamped in the log. Like, I could see all these. If you look really close, at a certain time, he got here at noon, and if you look at it, he did the process immediately. Unknown, and it's switching from Unicode to what do you call it? Okay, that music's gonna drive me nuts because I can't focus. So it was just set to show errors. So I switched it, right, to, oh God. I already saved the log. Anyways, I'll just cancel out of there. We can get back there. Okay, so I switched it to show error. It was set like this, just to show the errors, right? Unknown, nothing's happening. And it was doing this for like 5 minutes. I'm like, why does it take 5 hours to install OS? No, what he was doing is he's sideloading some shit to. He created a BIOS within a private folder within her hard drive, and then sideloaded the OS, created a separate partition, made it look like a disk image, and it just gets worse. So I saved a file, and the only way to even get into the operating system to see her folders so I can try to back them up is I had to save this file. So, and excuse if I don't use the correct terminology because I don't know like a lot of things. So here's his little trick. I was able to get into the root or whatever, blah blah blah, and then I found how the applications are, you know, in the order that they are, and how the devices are listed as they are. This is something I created as a save file, so that's not how it came. It didn't look all hacked out like a hack. But, so these are the error messages that were popping up every time. These are the default pre-programmed error messages that popped up every time it would go through the boot loop. And the only way, if nothing is working, right, Apple has the default network. You can boot through apple.com. They'll help you remotely boot. So he's got like 1, 2, same error. Can't be opened because the original item can't be found. So there's all these error messages that got pre-installed. This entire box that you see right here that I'm circling around, all of this is interchangeable, and it switches up, and you'll see. So I'm just gonna like kind of focus on this, and I'm sorry it's so shaky, but I am literally been sitting in this chair for hours, and my back is going crazy. Okay, so these are the errors, right? Okay, so now look, we're not supposed to be in the root folder technically, and she's not even an administrator, so that's how you know that either Lisco or this quote-unquote Mac techie gets paid a good amount per hour to fix people's shit. Okay, the root. So he tucked these files, and you have to have applications, right, to get to Safari to get online. So what he did is he took the entire system offline, right, after he so-called let it, it's going to take like an hour to install, blah, 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 and just call me when it's done. So the whole time it was installing, it was offline. We had no internet access. He installed this language so he can use PC and Mac keyboard, and then he tucked this little private folder in the root and created all these untitled little, do you see how they're mounted, right? And I don't need to save the log, but I'll just do it to get out of the screen. I just created this, so if he ever gets to see this one, he just basically duped my mother's entire, like, all her artwork, her personal files, her financial information, and just compressed it into an external volume, but made it look like a disk partition, a disk image. So it went from, like, she only used about 700 of her 1 terabyte, right? So there's about, I should say 600 is used. The pictures, files, blah, 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 applications. There's about 400 gigs left. And I saw that allocation at a certain point. So he tucks away making these mounts, whatever they are, and each of them all obviously have a hierarchy. Okay? So look, I'll just start at the first one, and then you go down. Okay. Okay, these are obviously, if you will, special commands to do special fucked up shit. And then if I switch the file type, so right now it's none, right? But if I hit it like modified, it's going to change the entire structure yet once again. And now just based on these windows right here is what I can see and what I can't see. So if I go back, now I can see it like that, or I could see it like that. And if a person that doesn't know that, that's what all they would see, they would give up and be like, where's all my shit? Where's the hard drive? Like, where's all the files? But because this is interchangeable based on, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So name, kind, date modified, So I'm just hitting none for now, for all practical purposes. So you get the idea of what's happening, right? Power management, Bluetooth, that's how he got in the Bluetooth. That's why he was asking, are we wireless or are we cable? So there's the files. And I know I'm going overboard, but it's so deep, you guys. Like, I can't even explain and I just got lucky enough to get here. Okay, so that's not how we want to look at it. But I got everything timestamped. So let's look at it by date modified. And then we're going to switch it. Well, first let me just save this file wherever the fuck. I'm just going to save it. Couldn't save. You don't have the permission because we are in the root where all this shit is fucked. So now I have to go try to save it somewhere else. You see? So, because I was lucky enough, I had a backup of my music library. I happen to have a 500 gigabyte flash drive, which is just about enough to like salvage her files. So I'm deleting all my music for her, so she doesn't have to spend hundreds of dollars on tech support. So here's how like the hierarchy gets weird. It's gonna be like funky. I'm trying not to, because it's really hard to see as I'm holding it like this. Okay, so that's where we were. Okay, this is the network. Okay, here is technically, now let me view it like just by the name. Okay, so this theoretically is kind of like, okay, well, how it's supposed to look. But if you notice, this OS 10 base system, what he basically said is, well, it didn't install. We're going to have to take off the glass and take out the hard drive and then just copy and paste the files and then do a wipe and then a clean install. I'm like, fuck all of that bullshit. But, you know, like, this is the same dude that, well, I won't get into that with my old PC. And I didn't even know that she was calling him. So, there's my little USB stick, okay? Now, there is her shit. This is the deal. And, if I look at it by size, now this is her desktop, and the only reason why I know that is because I remember the files. So it's not showing me, but it's showing me what's under 100 bytes. Now the desktop, because they're icons, shortcuts to the internal storage, you're not going to see the 900, 600 gigs, right? So how are you going to view that so you know if you're in the right place? So, what you do is you go back, and you go up here, and, oh, I forgot, I have to save the file. Okay, so my boss is going to be sad because he set this up for me, actually, or maybe I did it. I don't know, but there's my music. And I'm going to make this anonymous. I'm just going to save it there. Okay, so that's done. Yuptia. Okay, so now, now that's the only way that I could get into see her actual drives. And we're going back there in a second. But I just want to show you, these are the only other options. And this is like a prefab hack, right? Getting you to restart, and if you click that, then it's going to do the magical boot to the wrong disk, and I'll get you the information about that. And then, do you want to reinstall? Most people would choose that. Oh yeah, let's just reinstall it, a clean. Or you can get help online from the Apple support, or you can use disk utility. So let's use disk utility. Okay, so now this is like getting into, like, you know, a pseudo utility, but is it the real utility, or is it the utility that he installed on what is supposed to be a disk image, ISO or whatever, Okay, so let's look at this very closely. Now, technically that's supposed to be the internal storage. That's supposed to be there is no external storage, my friends, except for this right here, which is my little flash drive, okay? So now the internal technically is her Mac HD. Now when I click on it, look what it says. It says it's a physical disk, and it's named some weird random numbers called media. But it is her actual disk because it says 1 terabyte. And I know about how much space she has used, okay? That's just the label. That's not the physical information. So then you have to go over to here. Okay, so let's see, what is this? Okay, so let's check it out. Okay, it's a physical device. Okay, and it's labeled disk 0. Now follow me, you guys. Follow me closely. Remember, it's named this. It says it's a terabyte, which technically should be her Mac internal hard drive. The file system is unknown. That's the key. That's a key dead giveaway that you've been duped. Okay. Writable? No. Case sensitive? No. So just the fact that it's writable, that's how you know it's not her internal hard drive, okay? This is just a prefab template that he filled out and did some little modifications, okay? So now, based on how you look on it, so now let's go to the external drive and see how that looks. If I click on it, click on it, and I know how much my external drive and what type of format it is because I did it myself. It's disk device 15. So he's, good Lord. Now, this figure right here, if you guys can see that, that's accurate. 500, excuse me, I haven't like drinking anything, I'm about to die. This is my entire music library, right? And I'm gonna get a different disc, I'm not gonna delete it, but this is just a backup. This is called D Deluxe and Friends Global Mix. This is a master backup of music collabs, splices, loops of the people that I work with in the music industry, and this is just a little bit over half a terabyte. So this, I know that's accurate info, right? So if I click on it and I click info, the little info, so I'm gonna check to see, is it a physical device? Yes. It's disk number 15. Why is there, it should be like disk 2 or 3. File system unknown on purpose. Connection USB. Yes, that is correct. Okay, so that's one, internal, external, and now technically this disk, whoa, where are we? Sorry. The third one should be the installer disk image that I created. So I click on it. Click on it. I go down here and I look at it, and it says location external, capacity 2 gigabytes. Sounds about right. It says it's a disk image, right? Partition map, okay. Device disk 1. Disk 1. Disk 1. Now this is going to play an important part later. Okay, so now look at the label. It's called a disk image media. Not a disk image, but a disk image media. This is called a media. It should say Mac hard drive. This is called generic mass storage media, but it says it's an external physical disk because that's what it really is. Now, he said he said this was the hard drive, and I'm sitting there watching this dude like, you really must not know me, and I am definitely not an expert on computers, but I do have 20 years in like plus in just like computer usage, but not like, you know, I've learned a lot of shit, guys. I'm not expert. I learn new shit every day. The only thing I've ever really done is reinstall, clean install, take apart a laptop, reinstall operating system and a hard drive on a PC, and then I've unrooted some Samsung phones, unbricked them, and blah blah blah, and rooted some Samsung phones, and blah 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 blah. Okay, so now here's the next part. I'm so sorry if I sound so drab, but my voice is getting a little bit tired. So if I click hide, it's gonna hide that. It's gonna hide that. Okay, so now what do we do here? Okay, so now what do I want to do with that external drive? I want the information. We already got the information. I don't want to partition it. I don't want to erase it. I don't want to unmount it. Okay, so I'm just going to leave it like that. So now, if you come up to here, it's going to say, fuck. Come on. It's going to give you these options technically. Now, because this shit is so back-assward, meaning that these people put a lot of time and thought into a copy of what looks like a real an Apple version of a software. I mean, down to the science. Okay, so do I want a new image? No. Blank image. Okay, so technically we're in disk utility. Let's go to the media and see what happens. Now look at, remember just a second ago it said it was a terabyte? Okay, my camera's not. Oh, probably because my finger is getting the lens dirty. Hold on a second. Remember just a second ago it said it was a terabyte? Did I leave that? Physical, yep. There it is. Right there. Used space. If you look right there. Terabyte. Okay. Now, because when I switched it up here, now it's showing as just like a portable storage. This is how much of the terabyte which is used. But it should show the allocated memory. And it's showing that as a USB connection. That is not. This is technically this, so he copied her hard drive, okay? And then it's going to be a long video. We're only like 20 minutes. It might be like an hour. And this is also called disk 15. So think about everything I just said. So how can you have two disks that are 15? If you were to go into your terminal and do disk part or disk list, and you want to see your volume order, and you have two disks named the same thing, you know, that's why everything is, you know, going to be all jacked up. So, oh God, I just made a mistake, but that's okay. Okay, so I actually gave you the wrong information. I was describing the mass storage. That was correct. Let's go to the internal. So when you show it, okay, it's still showing as a terabyte. It is saying that it's a SATA connection. And it's saying that the smart status is verified, okay? And it's disk 0. But it's labeled incorrectly. Okay, so how do we fix this? Now, how do I get this? How do I get to where I need to go? How am I going to get into... Now, there is the Macintosh hard drive, right? Okay. Now, do you see how everything changed? It went from disk O to the correct... But it's mounted incorrectly. It's disk OS2. It's saying that it's reversed what it's used to. It's actually used 600 and 300 is free. Okay, so these two numbers, the 610 gigabytes and the 389, have been flopped. And its mount point is volumes Macintosh hard drive. And if you notice, it's not showing any digits in here. Okay, so let's say info and look at it here. Is it writable? Yes. That's how we know it's the correct hard drive. But no, snap. If it was the correct hard drive, it would say no. It is right. It is right. It is right. It's labeled right. I'm sorry. Woo! The internal physical volume of the OS X extended. Now this becomes a key part. Okay, I'm getting somewhere, guys, but we have to get back into the hierarchy. So what I have to do now is find my... I have to get help or get... what is it? Is it disk utility? No, where is it? Help. I need to verify. What do I need to do? I'm going to just do a test for a second. What I need to do is get back. Okay. Okay, so now we're back into the root or whatever. Now look at, like, you know, this is like all customizable. Look at that, look at that, look at like that. Application, date open, untitled, applications, utilities, Safari, here is the network. Okay, now look at it. Now, if I look at it based on date, last open, that's going to reflect my mouse movements. If I look at it by date added, it's going to reflect based on when it was added. So the recovery hard drive, okay, this is where he said he went to get from Apple, but he never booted to Apple. It's a pre-link kernel. That's the boot EFI. But from there, like, okay, like if I get the info for this disk and I look at the size of it, file, get info. This is technically the recovery hard drive that he said he couldn't create because there's no time machine. Wait a second. Hold on 1 second. Click on it. File. Get info. I can't get the info like that. I have to do like this. Now, if you notice, these can you see how they're stuck together? Now, if I did a certain key command, it would unstuck them, okay? Now, if I click on these little dots up here, Okay, so now see how that just like floated up? Okay. Now over here are those fake files already. We already know. Here's the applications. Here's the utilities. But what happens is he split the utilities up to not have the full package. Like the full package of utilities would have disk utility, startup disk, system information, terminal, boot camp, automator, migration helper, all those utilities, right? But no, he went from 1 megabyte to 100, from 10 gigabytes to 1 megabyte. He did some funky little tricks, okay? And what is that untitled shit? So here is the little logs. The install log, it shows you it went from a megabyte to 100 megabytes, the log itself. No text file should be 100 megabytes. And then the Wi-Fi, because he took it offline and extended to his Wi-Fi via Bluetooth. That's why he was asking, is this a wireless network, etc. And okay, so that's power management, blah, 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 blah. And then we got the iMac. And if we look at it like this, oh God, do you see how you can get stuck in this loop? Like, where am I? Where are we? What are we doing? What is this? Store data under module, COM Apple security ID, the security log, the install log. So he installed the software, but he installed it onto an internal disk for him. Because when I go to boot, or there's no startup disk. Okay, so now look at how it gets all fucked up. So you got your untitled, you got your Mac, and then if you are not clear on your hierarchy, now how do you want to view this? Devices, favorites, recent places, show sidebar. Okay, that's what we want. We want to show the sidebar. So here is the hard drive, supposedly the Macintosh hard drive that was modified at 2, which was like a good. And then there's this iMac. Now, I believe that is either the network server. Yeah, that's the network server. And then if you notice, there's no information about that. And it's called neighborhood. So now look at the startup volume. If he recovered it and installed the OS like he said he did, it would reflect the same size as the Macintosh hard drive. But he created a partition, and he called it the OS-based system. And if we, that's the startup volume, okay? But then what he does, he has a startup volume separate from the main hard drive. So that it goes probably to the network, it does its shit, and then it goes to the hard drive. And then on and on and on and on. So how am I going to copy these files? Okay, now look. Oh, Jesus Christ. This is insanity. So 11.62 gigs is he stole and just basically compressed the entire hard drive. So if I could show you, because there it is right there. All those are shortcuts. So there's the library, the bin, the applications. Okay, now look. Look how he did that. Do you notice? Okay. Now this is her desktop, you guys. Okay, we don't want to see the desktop. We want to see the actual drive. So I'm going to put it to none. And then I want to go all the way back. Now that's utilities, right? But it's missing a whole lot of shit. So where's the freaking hard drive? Okay, there it is. What? That's the hard drive? Oh, in that format, yes. But what? Is that the hard drive? That's not supposed to look like that. Is that the hard? Those are folders. Folders with no label. That is her desktop. That is not her hard drive. Name. How are we going to look at this? Users. Now this is what's inside her hard drive. Inside. So you go from desktop, okay, to inside. And if you notice, there's 2 installs. And that's why it was doing the boot loop, because it was cycling through 2 disk installs. So here's 1 install data, right? And then if I click on this user, here's the other OS install data. Okay, and they're just identical copies of each other, right? And then there's the network, whatever. He created a private folder. She never had a private folder. Okay? She never created a private folder. So he made his own installed data folder on her drive. Financial documents? Interesting. Downloaded software? Let's see. How much can I fit on 4 gigs? So he took her Adobe Premiere. She has the entire Adobe suite. He's a dumbass because this Final Cut Studio Pro doesn't even work. Ha ha! Because the serial is fake. Ha ha! She's got the real one. Ha! So this is what he stole. He stole the Design Premium, App Zapper, and Final Cut Studio, thinking he got away with some shit. Then he stole my artwork, right? My documents, my SD card backups. Look at that. Like, if I could, but I can't prove it because my mom doesn't want to accuse it, but this is my shit right here, you guys. So someone either on the network I have never saved my shit, my SD cards on her hard drive. These are like master backups of user profiles on my Android devices. So what I'm going to do right now, because I'm just talking, I'm going in loops and it's making me psychotic thinking about this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to Control C, and I'm going to see if I can put it on here. I can't create a new folder. Fuck. Can I? No, because... Oh, wait. Wait. Okay. Can I create a new folder? So this is, because I just saved the installer log, right? But I could not, Safari. I have to get it to a point where I can create a file like I did. Tags. So what am I looking for? Okay, so I want to do something here now. I want to say this again, okay? So what I'm going to do, what I wanted to do is to get back into the hard drive. Now it's all fucked up again because of this structure here. Okay, do you see that? My videos from TikTok, my movies, my pictures, all my Periscope documents, my resume, my identity, my like legal shit. Okay, so what I want to now I have the new folder ability, okay? So now I can create a new folder. So what I want to do is go to this drive right here, because I can make a new folder and we can then copy that. What we want to do is go there and then I want to make a new folder. I'm going to call this XXX Mac Pro back up XXX. I'm just being ridiculous right now. REC. Okay, so I'm just going to create a folder, right? Now, technically, it's going to want me to save a file in there. But what I want to do is I want to go back to... I want to copy this folder right here. Oh, wait, go back. We're not quite there yet. Back. All of that. Do you see all of that? I'm so sorry if I'm not holding that right. All of this shit. This is all just one. That's just one folder. Okay, so I want to... And I think the keyboard is going to work. I'm not sure. I want to do this. I want to do Command C. Okay. Now I want to come back down to here. I want to go to up to here. And then I want to... Oh, fuck. Wow, can I even paste it? I don't think I'm able to paste it. This is why this video is going to be depressing. I have to be able to get it to a state where I can copy and paste. We don't want to. Oh my god, I'm about to freak the fuck out right now. I'm trying to copy the files and I can't. Because we're in the root. No, I don't ever give up. He stole my backup of 2 of my tablets and all my artwork, all my movies, all my files somehow got onto your hard drive. Yep. No, has nothing to do with that. There you go. You see that? All I did was hit the language. That's for the main language. By using this software, you agree to the terms of the software license. But it's not. I have never had Mac OS. Come up like this. I'm going to pause, you guys. Okay, so that's what is happening. That's where we're at. And we will resume. Gotta take a break.